I decided to make the move, and it was the best decision I ever could have made because one, I aspire to own my own team one day. Right.
Hello,
So
put it out there.
You know what I mean? And so who else better to learn from than a self-made billionaire who owns his own team, right? Who's got LeBron James on his payroll. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what else you need? What else you need? If you want to have a team, that's what you want to. That's the room you need to be in.
What else? Yeah. That's the room I need to be in. Like one of my first visits. So when I first met Dan, they flew me to a Cavs game. We sitting courtside. I'm sitting next to Kyrie and Bron and Dan and the whole nine, and we just talking business. We talking sports. You know, we talking the whole thing. And so I was like, I'm moving to Detroit, 1,000%. Like this is where I need to be. And that year the Cavs had won the championship. Right?
Ooh, were you at the parade?
I was in the parade. I'm throwing bees. Like I've been shooting jumpers. You know what I'm saying? Like this lit. You know, I'm still close to the game. Like what else? What else do I need? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What else do I need?
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Couch with Rob Fields. I'm your host, Rob Fields, and today we have another banger. Today we have an innovator. Today we have a risk taker, of course. And today we have the Plansight CEO in the studio with us. Ladies and gentlemen, give big hand claps to James.
Yeah, man.
Chapman. Yeah.
I'm so thankful to be here. I appreciate the invitation, brother, and excited for us to dive into a few conversations, man. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
No, man. Listen, time is currency. Time is something that we can't get back, and you gave me a little bit of your time today, man. So I can say the same thing to you, man. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time, bro.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right. So for the people that don't know you, right? I've been reading up on you, bro, and it's a lot of substance out here, in regards to who you are and some of the things that you've been doing. But some of the people don't know you're a hooper, bro.
Yeah. I can get
you are. Yeah, you're a hooper at heart. You're a hooper in terms of your resume. You're solidified. So let's talk there, because that's something that we definitely have in common on, just saying hello to each other. Oh, you a hooper? Yeah. That's what we share, right?
That's right. Man, yeah. The love for the game itself goes back to when I was 3, man. My uncle, he gave me my first basketball. I remember the ball was like so big, it was like bigger than my person, man. But I couldn't put it down. I didn't want to play with nothing else, and it just spiraled from there, bro. I didn't even tap into other sports coming up. Like I didn't play football. I didn't play baseball. Like one time, my mom tried to get me to go play baseball. I showed up to tryouts with soccer cleats on. I ain't even had a right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It just wasn't. It wasn't meant for me to tap into them other sports, man. So basketball got all of my love and attention growing up, and was blessed enough to be able to play high school, college, and even some after. And it's taught me a lot, man. A lot of lessons that I use even post the game. I never would have thought that those lessons would carry over in the way that it has, man. So yeah, I'm a hooper, bro, and I always will be. Ball is life for sure.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that you talk about some of the skills that we get within the sport that are now transferable to life after the sport, right? And we're gonna get into that, because that's really one of the big messages that I'm trying to push out. That something that we can send to maybe athletes or people who start in one thing and then have to transition to another. Right. There's always transferable skills. Right. So at what point did you know it was going to be a thing? Like, all right, I can go to college, or I can, become a pro. Like, where did that start for you?
I think it was always a dream, right? Since like middle school, right? When you first start playing organized basketball, right? And you watching basketball all the time. So You know, in middle school, I'm like, all right, I want to go to the NBA, right, and, along with everybody else. In high school, I probably think around like my sophomore year, I realized how quick I was. And I realized also how my work ethic was a little bit different than my teammates, you know, and I started to see like some separation in how my game was developing amongst others. And I was like, all right, now I think I might be able to really go. You know what I'm saying? And by the time senior year came around, now I'm receiving a lot of the accolades. You know what I mean? I'm in the paper all the time, and you know I'm getting looks. And the interesting thing with me, I was playing out of position because I was a big guard, and we didn't really have big players on the team. There was no post players. You know what I'm saying?
So they put you under the basket.
Yeah. You know, just to kind of just because we had to do what we had to do, and then like I didn't get recruited by a big school because like they're like, we need a point guard. You know, you 6 foot 185, like you're a point guard. You're not a power forward. Like what are you doing? You're not a small forward. You know what I'm saying? And so I ended up going to a smaller school to develop those skills. You know what I mean? Those point guards. Some school that was willing to take a risk on me, who actually just saw me play in. You know how after high school there's all these camps and leagues and you know what I mean, the things you can play in, and stuff like that. I almost cursed. I don't know if we didn't establish those ground rules. Is there cursing or no cursing on this show?
You can curse it based on the weight. You know, I can bleep it out. It's all good. We can take care of it in post. So be yourself, man.
So, you know, my Coach Gillespie, I'll never forget, man. He saw me play at this showcase. He was like, I want to recruit you to come play for me. And, you know, that's when I was like, all right, if I can step on any college floor, regardless of, you know, the league or the level of division or any of that type of stuff, you know what I mean? If I could just keep playing post high school, I got a shot. And so I think around probably sophomore year of high school, I realized like I actually might be able to take this thing to another level.
Yeah, I mean it's really you know, it's really interesting to hear your story because it was kind of the same thing for me. First of all, I just wanted to go to college for free.
Yeah.
And then I figured out that I was good enough to get a shot. So I didn't know I didn't have a lot of offers just kind of falling at my doorstep, right? So when I got the opportunity to try out for a coach, like the head coach, I was just like, yo, I got to kill it here. And just so happened things worked out and I got the scholarship, but I had the same mindset. Like, let me see how long I can do this.
Yeah.
And then if I get a degree out of it or whatever, fine. But after I graduated from college, I wasn't even thinking about playing overseas because I didn't have any real models in front of me that made it feel real. Did you have that in high school? Because I mean, you said you know around 10th grade you started to say, okay, NBA, college. Did you have any players around the area that you know kind of showed you like maybe I could do this, or was it something that came over time?
Same for you. Same as you. Not for me. I didn't really have any examples to look to and be like, okay, this how he did it. You know what I'm saying? Let me tap his shoulder, see if he can give me some game so he can help me navigate those waters. It was nothing like that. No one that I knew from my city had really, you know, took it to the highest level. And so I was just going off hopes and aspirations for real. You know what I'm saying? And I knew that I was one of the better players in the city. And so I was like, I'm just going to take this thing as far as I could take it. And I'm thankful for it. You know what I'm saying? Basketball gave me a lot of opportunities to see things that I would have never seen without the game.
Yeah. So I mean, you went through college, and of course, like you had success in college. At what point? So you know, when was it always going overseas, or did it come to a time where you said, let's see what this workforce is like?
Yeah, I think my senior year, my sister passed away.
Wow. Okay.
And you know, my sister practically was like my second mom, you know what I mean? Because, you know how it is, growing up, single mom, two kids.
Yep.
You know, my sister was 8 years older than me, and so while my mom is working all the time and going to school, she's got to play that role, right? And so when she passed away, I think my senior year was when I decided, like, all right, I'm gonna take this thing as far as I could possibly take it because I owe that to her. You know what I mean? Like to just like utilize the talent that God has given me and the path that He's put me on this far at least. Let me maximize it. Let me see how far I can go. And when the doors close, the doors close. You know what I'm saying? But I think if she would have been living, she would have encouraged me to do that. She would have said, "Man, just keep going. See how far you can take it. You know, you never know." Type vibe. And
never know.
Yeah. That's kind of when I decided, like, all right, I'm gonna just see how far I can go with the hoop run.
So did you feel like basketball was something that could help power you through that grieving process? Because that's what it became for me. So I lost my mom was the same. She was the same. Like my mom, when I graduated from college, I was thinking I'm just gonna find a job, but she was the one who kind of put the battery in my back and was like, "Yo, like you did all of this in college, and then you just want to shut it down. You're not even gonna try."
Right.
And then the basketball thing actually ended up being the catalyst for my kind of redemption, if you will, when she passed in 2013. So I ended up going to Spain, and that time in Spain, having never been there before and kind of being away from my family, it gave me an opportunity to find therapy through the sport, which took me to this random place, right? And once I came out of that place where I was isolated in a sense, I am who I am today because of that moment. Did that year after everything happened, senior year, going overseas, did it help you in that way?
It helped me tremendously. You know, I took the loss very hard. And it happened like a week before I was about to graduate high school. Right.
Okay, so it's high school. Okay, all right.
I mean,
all right.
My apologies. My college.
College. Okay,
And the
all right.
week
Gotcha.
before I was about to graduate college.
Jeez, dang, dude.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So she did. The last conversation I remember us having was she was planning my graduation party. You know what I'm saying? And so, because of the timing of it all, everything I was going through so many developments as a man. You know what I mean? Anyway, and transitioning into this into the real world. You know what I mean? Post college, I needed basketball. You know what I mean? I spent more time with the game because of that. One, it was a healthy distraction. Two, it seemed like I was playing for somebody outside of myself. You know what I mean? Like prior to that, I'm just super for me. You know, I'll work as hard as I want to work. I'll do whatever I want to do. This is my career, you know, whatever. But it gave me another sense of purpose and definitely helped me with the grieving process. And I got my first call to go play down in Mexico. My first game was on Thanksgiving that year. So I graduated, was that May, and then I didn't get my first gig until November. And it definitely was a great escape. One, because I'm away from my family, you know, and so I get to grieve alone a little bit, you know, grieve around other loved ones is different than when you get to kind of like isolate and be by yourself and you don't speak the language and all of that, and it's just you in the game. And so you know, it definitely helped with that grieving process, bro, for sure.
And the thing about it, James, is like when your family know that you're gonna take it the hardest, they're expecting you to crack at some point.
For sure.
They're waiting to see it, right? And as soon as that moment happens, then everything, it just goes back to square one. Like when they see you really feel it, it hurts them a lot. And when you're processing that information, you try so hard to not have that emotion, so you end up bottling up everything.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, grieving is a very real thing. Yeah, man. So I mean, when we first had this, you know, when we first met up, man, I mean, we had a lot of similarities, but I mean, we didn't even go into this type of stuff, right?
At all. And it's funny how similar our paths are in that regard, you know, and having those experiences with folks that's close. And my condolences, by the way,
Yeah, same
is
here, bro.
yeah is well. But you know, it's definitely made me stronger, and it made me a better player for sure. You know, I invested more into the craft. You know, once that happened.
Yeah. So tell me about the transition out of the game, because you didn't do it for a long. You didn't play overseas for a long time. Something happened during that period where you said, maybe this is not for me,
Yeah.
or maybe or maybe you saw something out there
Different.
that was right there in arm's reach. What happened in that moment?
Yeah. So for me, I remember I was down with the Texas Legends in the D League. It's the G League now, but back then in my
Yeah.
day, it was the D League. You know what I'm saying? The League. Um, and I was in Texas, which was dope because my brother and sister live in Dallas, and so me being close to them was really cool. And once I got released, I was like, first of I remember going out into the parking lot and just being like, why God? Because I thought I had a path, you know what I'm saying, that I was headed down, and
Uh-huh.
that, you know, that path was going to lead to other things. And I
Yep.
felt like I had worked so hard to get that opportunity, then it was snatched away. And then after that, you know, after I just kind of shook that off, their camp was super helpful with like, yo, you got game, man. We can call this team overseas for you or this team overseas for you. And one call from us, they'll pick you up in a heartbeat. Like, don't trip. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. And
Okay.
I just didn't want to keep doing that. You know, with the food
Mm.
being so inconsistent and me getting sick from the food in some of these places,
Mm-hmm.
and the pay always being inconsistent, and I'm away from the fam all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like
Eight
now,
months a year minimum.
yeah. And so I just was kind of like, nah, man, I think I'm gonna do something else, because it became apparent that at that given moment I wasn't good enough for the NBA, or they would have kept me, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I got let go when like Rashad McCants and some of those other brothers who had been in the NBA, you know, that was trying to use the D League to get back on the court.
Yep.
You know, my
Yep.
resume didn't match theirs whatsoever, right? And so I feel like if I was this expendable to the game, and my talent isn't to the point where the game needs me at the highest level, then what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
what am I really doing? And you know, I decided to step away to be closer to family. You know, my one thing I didn't say is that my sister, when she passed, she had a 3-year-old son at the time. My
Wow.
nephew. It's right. And so I'm extremely close to my nephew, and being away from him all the time, and he lost his mom. Like it was just so many
Oh yeah.
factors that I was
Yeah.
like, man, let me just get closer to the crib, man, and quit dealing with all this inconsistencies with this other stuff, and you know, see what that looks like. So that was the beginning of the transition.
Yeah, and I mean everything that you said. I mean it, and so I ended up doing it for 12 years. But honestly speaking, man, if I didn't fully commit to it, or if I had some reservations about certain aspects of it, similar to you, I don't know if I would have done it as long, because
Yeah,
what you said was everything. Inconsistency with pay. I didn't really buy into staying in this process until I started getting 2-year deals, because at least
yeah,
there was some security there, right? But most guys, they sign for one season, and each season they're going to a different team or a different country, and I really didn't want to do that. So I said,
yeah,
okay, what I'm going to do is try to find a situation where I can at least be in the same country, and that way, I can be able to just find a home in a sense, a
facts,
home away from home, right? But I,
facts.
I think I would have been like you, man. Had I not fully bought in, or had I not found my wife or whatever, I would have been like, nah, man, I got to figure out what's next.
I got to figure
Yeah.
out what's next, because then it's like what's worth it. And the transition was not easy or simple, right? So now basketball is all I know, and I'm trying to get into the workforce. So I get back home to Chattanooga, where I'm from. I get on food stamps, right? Because like that was the thing. I immediately did that, and tried to get on all the government assistance programs I possibly could.
Yeah, because we don't get no healthcare plans
we don't get
playing
it. We
overseas and
nothing,
in the D League.
I
We don't get
I
it.
had nothing, and so I'm like, all right, let me at least build a foundation to work from. Let me work from the very bottom. That's cool.
Right.
Like I started from the bottom, so I'm not unfamiliar here in this territory. So all of that was fine. I started unloading boxes at FedEx third shift. That was my first job post the game.
Okay.
And I hated it, having to be at FedEx at 4 a.m., working 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., you know what I'm saying? It was the worst. So 3 a.m. to 8 a.m., whatever it was. And I'll never forget, like one of my childhood mentors hit me up, who used to mentor me at the boys club when I was coming up. Shout out to Gerald, man. Gerald probably changed my life. He was like, "Look, man, there's some opportunities around at the career center in town. Go check them out." And around this time, I think it's 2019. The economy is terrible. I don't know if you remember when Obama was like pushing all the money out into the streets because of how bad the economy was in 2019. Yep. There was a lot of workforce programs and things of that nature. So I was able to get into one of those programs, into like a workforce readiness program or whatever, where they basically paid me a summer stipend to just do little jobs here and little jobs there. And bro, I worked so hard and was always just like bringing them ideas on how to improve stuff. They was like, "Yo, forget this program, like you want to work with us, kind of overseeing the program, like in this capacity and that kind of thing. Like we really like your ideas. You're really working hard here. Like we feel like you was somebody who'd be a good asset to the team." And I was like, "Man, I need a job. Yeah, like let's run it." Of course,
run it up.
whatever it is, you know what I mean? So I had to go out and buy some ties and buy some, I ain't had no ties and no dress shirts and all of that, man.
Right, right.
So I went out and
that's definitely not a requirement on the overseas or the D League basketball player,
I don't care about that.
Rider or whatever.
yeah. So I had to go out and buy that stuff, man. And started working the gig, and that's when I learned how far behind I was. Like I'm typing emails and working on a computer every day, all day. I've never done that before. So I'm misspelling stuff, and all of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was a learning curve, to be honest with you, with trying to get into like the real world of work behind a desk. You know what I'm saying? I had some great mentors that were very patient with me along the way. And I ended up climbing the corporate ladder, actually, but in government with this workforce program. And so I started off as a participant, then overseeing that program, and then I actually ended up managing like 3 different programs within that organization. And so now I'm in it now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a full on professional in the workforce field, but I didn't like the job. I worked in it for like 4 years, and I was like, man, I gotta get out of this. I've met my ceiling in this, and that's when I decided to be an entrepreneur. I was like, you know what? Basketball is over with. I know I don't want to stay in this government stuff. Let me try my hands at business, to see what that might look like.
So we gonna move to some of the plays that you made over this time, James. But tell me how it felt to get that first paycheck, like real paycheck. And I not when you move in boxes and stuff, but when you get
an adult paycheck,
an adult paycheck with benefits, like
right, with benefits, man. It felt so doggone good. I probably blew it. I probably blew my first paycheck just so happy, and then knowing I was gonna get another one in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Just like this is great. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely made me feel accomplished. Like, all right, I could be somebody else besides a hooper. I could do this. It was a great feeling. It was
a lot of the cats that I talked to who got out of the game, right, and started like working real jobs, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they always talk about that first paycheck,
That
and now
first
they like,
check, bro.
wait, so it's for sure gonna come in 2 weeks?
Yeah,
Like,
it's coming every 2 weeks. Wow, I like it here. I like it here. I like it
man,
here. I
forget
ain't got
hooping, man. I'm going to
yeah,
LA Fitness,
I'm
bro.
cool. I'm cool. I'm cool. I got this. I got this towel. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
LA Fitness. It's
yeah,
over. It's a
yeah.
wrap.
It just go bust their ass and keep it
Uh,
pushing. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
man. So we're at that point, man. You know, you talked about wanting to be a full-time entrepreneur.
yeah,
And like I said, you know, I've done my Googles. Oh, you know,
yeah,
at a certain point, you had to make a move to Detroit, or
yeah,
you decided to make a move to Detroit.
yeah.
Talk about the kind of the backstory behind you going from Tennessee to
To the
Detroit,
D.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. First off, Detroit is like my second home. I grew up in so many ways in Detroit. Um, I turned 30 in Detroit, which was crazy. So backstory: a guy who's from the city was already in Detroit, from Chattanooga, was already in Detroit working for Dan Gilbert. Dan Gilbert owns the Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron James, my favorite player, all this stuff, right? And so
no,
the guy sees the work that I'm putting in chat on the business side of things. Where I used to run this workspace called Workaholics, where entrepreneurs would come into the space in the evening hours once they got off work to work on their ideas, share ideas with each other, and all of that type of stuff. So it was a whole vibe.
wow. So is it
Uh,
like a think tank?
it's like a think tank for anybody in the evening hours who just want to come and work on their ideas, vibe out. We
After
had
they work all day and stuff like
after
that,
they
right?
work, yeah, so it's called
That's dope.
Workaholics.
That's dope.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
dope.
yeah.
Super
Six, it
dope.
was open from six to midnight. A lot of cross collaborations, that kind of thing. And so, shout out to Josh who actually put the bug in Dan's ear that they should bring me up to kind of like run their entrepreneurship work in the city. Now, mind you, Dan is you like he was like a huge catalyst in the whole movement that Detroit had going on at that particular time to move the city for. He brought up a bunch of buildings downtown. He's put a bunch of money in people's pockets who were trying to start businesses and things of that nature, right? So, long story less long, they bring me up. I decided to make the move, and it was the best decision I ever could have made because one, I aspire to own my own team one day, right?
Hello,
So
put
who
it
else
out
better?
there.
You know what I mean? And so who else better to learn from than a self-made billionaire who owns his own team, right? Who's got LeBron James on his payroll. You know what I'm
Well, yeah.
saying?
What else you need? What else you
What,
need? If you want to
what
have a
else,
team, that's what you want to.
what
That's
you
the room
need?
you need to be in.
What else?
Yeah.
That's the room I need to be in. Like one of my first visits. So when I first met Dan, they flew me to a Cavs game. We sitting courtside. I'm sitting next to Kyrie and Bron and Dan and the whole nine, and we just talking business. We talking sports. We talking the whole thing. And so I was like, I'm moving to Detroit, 1,000%. Like this is where I need to be. And that year the Cavs had won the championship, right?
Ooh, were you at
And
the
so
parade?
I was in a parade. I'm throwing bees. Like I've been shooting jumpers. You know what I'm saying? Like this lit. I'm still close to the game. Like what else? What
Yeah.
else do I need? You know what I'm saying? What
Exactly.
else do I
Yeah.
feel me? And so, man, I grew up a lot in Detroit. When I was there, I ended up doing this. Started this pitch competition called Detroit Demo Day with Dan, and we would give away $1 million every year to entrepreneurs based in Detroit or willing to relocate to Detroit. And so that was like my journey, and that's when I really learned about tech and venture and investing and like how business really works because I'm near Dan almost every day. And so I'm seeing all of the different deals that he's in and how he's determining if he's going to invest in a deal or not. And like what he doesn't like about certain deals and what he would do if he was that entrepreneur and all of that type of stuff. And I'm just soaking up the game, you know what I'm saying?
Of
And,
course.
and
Yeah.
trying to, apply those things. So, man, I love Detroit, bro. Detroit welcomed me with open arms. It's definitely like my second home. When I first moved, I lived on the west side, Davidson and Livernois. So anybody who listening to this that's from watching, that's from Detroit. Y'all already know what time it is with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I love the city. Love the
Yeah.
city.
I'll never forget the Pistons, especially in their heyday, right? With Rip and Chauncey Billups and Rasheed and all that.
Yeah,
You know, when they were being introduced
for
before the
sure.
game, it would be Detroit
Yeah,
basketball. Like I'll never
yeah,
forget that, man.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We ain't gonna talk about the brawl, but you know things that
nah.
you remember
I
that.
was I was at my grandma's house and my my grandma had just finished cooking and I was sitting there looking at the TV, right? I'm on the edge of my seat, like, oh. My grandma comes out the kitchen and she like, oh Lord. Like it was just
Hey, they was
oh
going
my God.
crazy. They
Yeah.
Ron Artest is a wild boy, man. Ron
Yeah, he
Artest.
is, man. I'm happy to see his switch, man. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
he
happy to
did.
see him kind of grow up and, just really live in that moment and become a better person and be able to, just kind of control his, emotions. The
Right.
emotional management is at a high level for him. I'm happy for him. Also, I'm happy about the resurgence of Detroit. Like a lot of people are starting to pour back into the community and actually rebuild it
Big fans.
as well. I've been seeing that online. A lot of people are
Yeah,
starting to look at Detroit as a place that really has a lot of growth,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
hopefully the people of Detroit are benefiting from that, and not just the people who has all the money.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it was once one of the great American cities, or the greatest American city. They had the Great Migration, where all the black people was actually moving to Detroit for the auto
Hmm.
industry. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Because those are the best jobs in the country at that time, with Ford and GM and all that type of stuff. And so it's got a lot of rich history, and it's got a lot of history of black leadership and black middle class that was established in the city of
Yes.
Detroit, man. So yeah, it's a special city.
Yeah. So to kind of pivot, right, and we're gonna stay in your professional life. We talked about it together. Just kind of taking chances and just really kind of putting yourself out there and getting these new experiences and manifesting, such as you saying, I want to own a professional basketball team at some point in time in my life. So I read an article, and that the in the headline of that article, I think it was Afrotech. I'll give them a shout out. Afrotech. In that article, it said, James Chapman, starting this and that, and betting it all on Plansight.
Yeah,
So I want you to talk about the process, but first, I want to hear about the mindset behind betting everything on something that you believe in, such as Plainsight, because you're not the Plainsight CEO for no reason.
right.
Like you earned that title. So tell me, where does that mindset come from to be able to say, I'm going to take a gamble on myself and I'm going to do this?
Yeah. It was interesting, right? Because at that moment when I was in Detroit and I'm giving away $1 million to the city and I'm working with Dan, I didn't have to, right? Like I
Yeah,
could have just kept doing what I was doing. I had a good thing going. You know what I'm
of
saying?
course.
To be
Yeah.
real with you. And so I like the word that you use. It was a mindset to bet on myself. And I'll never forget when I ended up telling Dan, I was like, look, man, I've enjoyed this. I think I've gotten this work to a point where somebody else could jump in and lead it. It's got some structure to it now. But I've got this itch to start my own thing and bet on myself, again. And I need to pursue that. And I think that as an athlete at heart, we're always striving to be better. We're
Yeah.
always striving to be the best versions of ourselves, right? And that doesn't stop just because you've gotten off the court, right? I'm always striving to be the best version of myself every day. And I just felt like had I stayed in that role, I wasn't going to challenge myself to take things to new heights. I live for a legacy. That's all we have, in my opinion. It's
Yeah.
how we're remembered and how we affect people on this earth. And so that was the mindset. and I had the idea, which was Plainsight, which was the vehicle, right? And I just decided to go all in on it. And thankfully, once I shared the concept with other people who already believed in me, they were willing to put their money where their mouth is and bet on me as well, because they saw how serious I was about betting on myself. Dan has this concept of his, when he thinks about how he invests into companies. He says, I bet on jockeys and not horses, meaning I don't really care as much about the idea. I care about the person that's behind the idea, that's driving this thing forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to get to know what they're like, you know? And so, you know, I bet on myself, and he and a few others bet on me too, and Plainsight was born.
So for those who don't know, tell them about Plainsight. What is Plainsight? What is the Plainsight app?
Yeah.
How can we benefit from using Plainsight?
Absolutely. We are a tool for events, and our tool allows sponsors to be able to find brand marketing opportunities like events, to be able to put their brand on and increase their return on investment. And if you're hosting events, we'll help you find sponsors as well as sell tickets. And on the event goer side, we have a mobile app. So when you register for an event, you can connect with other people through the mobile app. So like, you'll put in your skills, your interests, your professions, and then you'll be able to connect with other people that have similar interests. And so I came up with the idea from Workaholics. I was running these meetups, and everybody was always trying to, you know, find connections with one another and ask me to introduce them to someone. And I just realized how curating introductions between people can really benefit them and change their lives. And so I wanted to put that into a business. And that's what we do at Plainsight.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and it's so crazy how everything comes full circle, right? So that workaholic situation ended up being something that was the catalyst behind what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
I saw another quote from one of the articles, and you talked about, you know, this AI movement, and I actually just did an episode about, you know, AI and where it could go, and, you know, some of the fears that are attached with it. What do you think about the AI movement? What's your opinion on it? Are you in the middle? Are you, I mean, of course, you're in the tech field, right? So you have to be able to embrace it. But where do you think this AI movement is going to go, and how are you feeling at this moment right now, knowing what you know?
Yeah, I'm actually excited about it. I think that most people's concerns are, you know, what if it goes rogue? You know, what happens when AI goes wrong, in the dangers?
We've seen that movie.
Yeah, yeah, a few of them.
Right.
And I think those concerns are healthy, and I think that those concerns are needed to try to keep us within some type of guardrails, right?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, technology is a tool to better our lives, right? I created Plainsight so that people can do what they're already doing in a smarter, better, faster way, right? Mm-hmm. AI is the gasoline for that, right? And is using information to help you make more informed decisions at the end of the day. Yep. And we need that. And I think the challenge is folks who resist that technology and resist learning about the technology, you're going to be left behind in a number of different ways. Now, I'm not saying everybody should be in tech. I'm not saying everybody should try to be a founder in tech or investor or any of that. But I do think we need to start to get more familiar with what's going on with especially our communities.
Yes.
Is where I'm speaking from on this one, to be real with you. Like, you know, we gotta stay up to date with what's going on with this stuff, because it could benefit us in so many ways and we don't even know it. And all of the money is being bet on that. right? Like that, everybody putting their money into AI. And so I think it's something that we need to stay familiar with, and I think that it's something that can benefit us. But I also respect and appreciate the folks who are like, yo, keep it cool. You know what I'm saying? Let's not let the thing get too carried away. So that's how I feel about it, and I'm excited to start finding ways to integrate AI into our business for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same exact way that you feel, and I understand exactly why people are hesitant to just jump head first into this thing. And I mean, like I'm a skeptic, like even putting your credit card on your phone, like I'm still like, I'm kind of from there. But on the flip side of it, I am a geek in a sense. So I'm looking for all of the new tech. How do we work this? How do we make this work? I love video gaming. I mean, what we're doing right now, there's some AI aspects to it that I need to know. That I need to know, right?
Absolutely. Like when you type in on and you using Gmail and it auto corrects something that you trying to say or about to say or meant to say or whatever, that's AI. You know what I'm saying?
AI, baby. Yep.
Yeah. Like it's helping us make better decisions. Now you can still type it wrong if you want to, but
right.
It's trying to let you know. I know what you're trying to say, and it's not what you just typed right here. So
it's like when it types ducked up.
Right.
Like you know what I'm trying to say, and you still giving me duck.
Because that's some guardrails. Somebody coded that to make sure that ducked it, whatever.
Yeah.
So, that's right.
Yeah. So the second part of that quote that I got from you, man, is it spoke on the human touch and how the human touch is still necessary. So explain a little bit about that. So while AI is important, you spoke about the human touch and how in order for what you're doing at Plainsight to work, we still need each other.
We do, and that closeness. And so the irony is, I started Plainsight, an events business for in-person events, specifically 4 months before a global pandemic. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
4 months later, in-person events are actually illegal. Like you get caught doing, having large gatherings, they'll come and shut that down. Like you can't do that. It's a pandemic right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, my timing was not the best, and I think that it makes me stand on that point even more. That's what showed, the pandemic showed us that we need that closeness. We need to be able to have face-to-face conversations and learn from each other and pick up on each other's, mood and mannerisms, all those types of things. Like certain stuff you just can't get from afar. This Zoom and all of this type of stuff is great, but sometimes you just need to be around people, and that's where real relationships are built. Right?
Absolutely.
You and I have never met each other. We have a rapport with one another. But I guarantee you that when the day comes that we actually get to kick it in person and really get into it, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to deepen the relationship. You know what I'm saying? And you just can't duplicate that from afar. And so we do need touch. We do need closeness. And I think that AI and technology has a role to play in that, right? By helping us make smarter decisions about who we decide to be close to, right? And what environments we decide to put ourselves in based on what it knows about us. Like, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? But it can't be the only thing. Technology can't be the end all be all. AI cannot be the end all be all. We need closeness and we need touch for sure.
Yeah, that's a word, man. That's a word. And I mean, that's something that I'm also pushing, man. The same thing. Like the AI cannot replicate this human experience that we have. I don't care how many programs you put out, how long they work at it. You can't replicate what we're feeling. I mean, what we felt, or what you felt leaving college. Like an AI can't tell you how to feel about that. A computer, excuse me.
It just can't. Like I know during the pandemic, what was that? Is that when the metaverse came out and all of that, where they basically like put you into this augmented reality, world and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it ain't the same as like actually dapping somebody up. It ain't the same as actually having a hug with somebody and closeness with somebody. Like the way that we're built, we need those things, or else it's going to be a strange world. It would be a very strange world if we always had to be away from each other and we could only, operate through technology. Like that's lame. Nobody wants that. Yeah, nobody wants that.
Yeah, man. So listen, man, we on the back end of the recording, man, and it's been a great conversation. I mean, we could go for a couple more hours, I'm sure, because there's so much to talk about out in these streets. Usher and Kiki actually did a video. Let's let's not talk about that, bro. Oh my God.
Hey, Usher, Usher's from Chat. Usher's from my city.
He's in Tennessee. Yeah, he's A-Town, but he's from Tennessee.
Yeah. He made his career in Atlanta, but he's from Chattanooga. And he a wild boy, man. He done broke up that happy home, man. That woman
it wasn't that happy.
Man,
seen that dress.
He a wild boy for that one. They double down on it, like no remorse. You know what I'm saying? Like let's do a song and a video about it. So yeah, man. Usher, man.
Usher. Yeah. So
what? I tried to get a ticket to go see Usher because he just came out with new dates.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, in Vegas for November or December, something like that. Can't get them tickets, man. Yeah,
listen, man. The price of the brick went up. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he did that Paris run. I think he might be finished with the Paris run.
Yeah.
And I mean, the residency was popping until man, this summer, and now he's on fire, man.
Yeah,
it's women traveling to Paris to see him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got it going right now, man.
That's crazy. You talking about longevity?
Yeah,
being able to still be popping like this after 30.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think 97 is when he cracked.
See what I'm saying?
Longevity, man. I need some of that.
Yeah, Usher.
Yeah. So speaking about just longevity, man. What's next for you? What's next for Plainsight? Just what's next?
What's the word? Yeah. So we're young in the business, and I'm excited for our continued growth. At the end of the day, man, we want to help and empower people. And if I continue to do that, then good things will continue to happen for me. I tell people who host events with us, I win when you win. So if I find you a sponsor, that's good for me and good for you. I help you sell tickets, that's good for me, that's good for you. I help somebody make a connection at an event through our tech, that's good for me, that's good for you. So we're just going to keep doing more of the same, bro, to be honest with you. And, we're raising money for our business right now. To date, Plainsight has raised a little over $1 million for the business through angel investors. And now we're going out to try to raise even more. I'm trying to raise somewhere between 2 to 3 million right now to continue to have some long-term growth.
Of course.
And what I would want to do with the business at some point is exit, man. Have some type of exit strategy. I think our people don't oftentimes think about, where am I going with this business? They're like, I have this idea and I want to start this and I want to do this, but like, what's the end game? Where are you going with it? And, end game for me is to ultimately exit either by acquisition or going public. It very likely will not be going public. So if I could sell Plansight and then become an investor where I get to invest the capital that I made from my concept into other people's concepts, so those things can grow.
Big shift right there.
Yeah, that's kind of that's my hope. Those are my aspirations.
Nice. Yeah. All right, man. So listen, on this show, manifestation is really big. Yeah. That's one of the messages that I like to push, and I like to encourage people to say out loud, some of the crazy ideas and aspirations that they have. Yeah. And hopefully once you get those things, you can always reference back to our time right here and say, I said it.
Yeah, I did it.
I did it. All right. Yeah. So what what's something that you would like to manifest into the world, and something that you would want to see come true, and whatever, personal, professional, or both. It's up to you.
I would say, we talked about the team. I want to be a team owner. I'm going to manifest that, and that's going to happen. I will be the owner of an NBA team at some point in my life and in my journey. And I think that's a milestone that would help me feel very accomplished. Speaking of Usher, Usher is a minority owner in the Cavs, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's in the game on that side too. And I want to do that. I want to do that. So I'm gonna manifest that. That I'll be a majority owner in an NBA team at some point in my career, in my life.
Hello, there you go. And I've never sat in a box seat at a game. So once you get the ticket,
Oh, what's up?
I mean, once you get the team, excuse me, I'll pull up. I'll pay for a ticket too.
Yeah,
I've never had that experience.
Yeah, we're gonna make that. We're gonna make that happen for sure. Let's make that happen. Even before I own the team, man. We can make that. Yeah, I know some people. We can make that happen.
No, some people that know some people.
Yeah, I know a few people. Yeah, that we
yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, but listen, James, man, I'm first of all, before we wrap up, man, I'm really thankful that we had an opportunity to get this story out there. Of course, you've been all around, letting the masses know on the net, but I'm happy that you chose this platform to share that story as well, man. And I'm always thankful for your time, because my approach on time is, we don't get it back, right? So it's basically the most valuable thing we have on this planet. You gave me some of your time. I appreciate it to the highest degree, man. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to your movement, everything that you're doing with the couch, bro. I'm loving it. Have me back anytime. Can't wait for us to actually, chop it up in person. I'm sure that's going to be a vibe too.
For sure.
Everybody that's listening, man, y'all keep following bro's movement, because he's just getting started. He's got something special, man. So I'm thankful for the platform, thankful for the time that we can chop it up, bro, and looking forward to doing it more.
Absolutely. Hey, anytime you want to get the word out about any product, any event that you're doing, you can always use the platform, man. Whether it be a 10-minute spot, a 5-minute, whatever.
Word.
It's yours, man. So
Word.
Just pull up whenever. Yeah, no doubt. So listen, before we get out of here, bro, give the people your socials, and then then we'll wrap up.
Tap in with me, man. I'm at Plainsight CEO. That's PLAINSIGHT CEO on all platforms. If you want to check out Plainsight, just go to plainsightevents.com. And I appreciate y'all.
Yes, you see it right here. The website, web handle, everything is right there for you guys. Go over and follow Plainsight CEO, and also check out the website for all of your event needs.
Yes, sir. Get your business. Absolutely.
For sure. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, wrapping up. This has been another great episode of The Couch with Rob Fields. You know how we wrap up. I have to drop that jewel. Ladies and gentlemen, it costs nothing to be good to someone. Be good to someone today. I'm your host, Rob Fields. He's the Plansight CEO, James Chapman.
Yes, sir.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Peace and love.
Peace.